Now this is a hypothetical scenario that's actually happened to me on a few separate occasions. Imagine for a moment that you come up with your very own idea for an original YouTube video. The concepts, the characters, the jokes, the writing, the ideas, all your own creation. You write the video, you shoot the video, you're about 3/4 through the way of editing the video, and then you decide to maybe take a little break. You decide to check your YouTube subscription feed, and look at that, your favorite YouTuber has just uploaded a new video. And it seems eerily similar to the video that you were going to make. Now there's no way that they could have known that you were going to make a video like that. You likely don't even register as a blip on their radar, so you wonder to yourself, how could this person have gone back in time and stolen the idea from my brain before I even had a chance to write it down? The fact is that it's probably just a really big coincidence. And it happens more likely than you think. We all like to believe that our thoughts are unique to us and wholly original, but the simple fact is that most observations that can be made about a particular subject matter probably have already been made and have probably been made more eloquently than you or I could possibly make them. Now, I'm not saying not to try, I am just saying that accidentally ripping off other creators is something that you need to always be constantly wary of when you are a creator yourself. And in some respects it can be a little overwhelming. In my hypothetical scenario, what would you do in that situation? Would you proceed to release the video regardless? After the more popular YouTuber uploaded their version and put yourself at risk of being called a lesser ripoff? Or do you scrap all of your hard work knowing full well that the fucking internet is an unforgiving place and your own audience is going to berate you with unwarranted scrutiny and hostility? This is why I have so many unreleased videos that the masses will probably never see. There's also this idea that we subconsciously steal ideas without even realizing it. How do you know for absolutely certain that your thoughts are actually your own thoughts and not just someone else's thoughts that you've probably heard before in someone else's video or a comment on an online article? It's very likely that you picked up on these things subconsciously, slightly altered them in your brain, and then forgot about them. So when you're writing down a line for a video, make sure to repeat the line a few different times in your head to make sure that these are your own genuine thoughts and that you're not hearing them in someone else's voice. Because if you do hear them in someone else's voice, then it's very likely that you've probably picked it up from somewhere else. But if these are someone else's thoughts, it doesn't necessarily mean that you can't use them in your video. You just need to cite your sources. Or if you're stating facts or statistics, then just tweak the phrasing a little bit and add your own perspective on the available information. Do not just steal the line verbatim, because there is a difference between facts and ideas, and as long as you're portraying the facts in your own words, should be perfectly fine. Should be fine. A few years ago, popular YouTuber Matthew Santoro had to deal with these exact types of accusations when it was revealed that he essentially took the phrasing of list articles word for word and would then proceed to use them in his own videos. The accusations, of course, had nothing to do with him relaying facts that he found on the internet. That's perfectly fine. The issue lied with the fact that he basically took someone else's perspective and did not alter it in any way before using them in his own videos. And there is no way in hell that this could have been unintentional. The internet being the internet likely would have been forgiving if he, at the very least, cited his sources. But alas, he did not, and I'm surprised he was even able to live that down, considering the various other controversies that he's been at the head of. But I digress. So what prompted this particular video? Well, a few years ago I released a video with my own original ideas in which someone accused me of ripping off the ideas of a much larger, more popular YouTuber that I'd never heard of. I looked up the YouTuber in question, and surely enough, they did make fairly similar observations to me, and did come to the same conclusion on the subject matter that I was talking about. And they'd released their video a whole 2 weeks before I'd released my video. This frightened me so much that I did actually take down my version of the video out of fear of being demonized for this, quite frankly, mere coincidence. The fact is that there's a lot of popular YouTubers out there that people will inevitably compare you to, just for having a similar demeanor, or a similar accent, or a similar style of making videos. People will accuse you of being a ripoff, but quite simply, when these accusations arrive, you know in your head that these accusations are completely and utterly false. I believe if you are called out for using someone else's ideas, and there is any validity to that claim, you should work to amend your mistake. If not take down the video, then at the very least acknowledge that it was your mistake. Even though it has nothing to do with being a ripoff, Tom Scar, when he made a video calling out other YouTubers for using shock humor, perpetuating drama, and generally not being a good influence on their young, impressionable audience, people would go on to quickly point out that his phrasing was poor and that he himself was guilty of using shock humor, occasionally perpetuating drama, and having content in his videos that might not be good for a younger audience. Tom made a good example of himself by taking responsibility, taking down the original video, uploading an apology video, and then making another video based on his original video down the track, which better specified what he meant to say, and basically saying that he wasn't exempting himself from those criticisms, and honestly, I think that's what we should all aspire to. If we ever get on the internet's shit list, just make amends where you can, because we're not all perfect. In fact, none of us are. We are all fallible human beings who are not going to be the best versions of ourselves 100% of the time. Now personally, and I know this is going to sound controversial, but I think it is okay to steal some things. Now don't get me wrong, stealing ideas, art, jokes, stories, those are all terrible. But if you are a practicing artist, it's okay if you reverse engineer other people's art styles to try and get a better sense of the direction you want to take your own art style. Does that make sense? Obviously don't steal someone's entire video or someone's entire comedy routine or someone's entirely persona, you still gotta be yourself. But I personally don't think that there's anything wrong with adopting certain elements from creators that inspire you. It is perfectly okay to take minor things and tweak them just enough so that they better reflect your own unique personality, or your own unique way of storytelling, or your own unique comedy style, etc. I don't think anyone should get upset at you for using a cartoon avatar that's similar to another YouTuber that also uses a cartoon avatar, or for doing a similarly styled comedic game review. Here's the thing, if people watch your video and they come off of it thinking, I've seen this before, then they're going to click off of it right away and never come back. But if they come off of your video thinking, that was oddly familiar, yet somehow kept my interest, I'm going to subscribe to this individual and see what other stuff they produce, then you're doing it right. Wink. For the longest time I feared jumping into the game review or let's play genre, because it was so overcrowded with so many different personality types and styles that I just didn't feel like I had anything unique to add. I felt if I did anything like my favorite YouTubers, even slightly, even remotely, I'd inevitably be labeled a ripoff. But here's the thing, imitation and inspiration are not the same thing. There is no shame in feeling inspired. There is no shame in taking that inspiration and doing something with it. One of my all-time favorite videos I've ever made on this channel is my Superman 64 review, and you know what? Some people do think that that's a ripoff, but plain and simply, I just don't care anymore. General audiences will always connect two things whose loose association is trivial and say that they're one and the same. People do it all the time because the human mind gets good at spotting and identifying patterns, even when they're not there. A good example of imitation versus inspiration is the Irate Gamer and JonTron. The Irate Gamer very clearly adopted a lot of mannerisms and ideas from the angry video game nerd in the early days of the comedic video game review genre, and was rightfully accused of being a ripoff for doing so, as he did take entire jokes, observations, and visual cues verbatim from the source material. However, what a lot of people don't realize is that JonTron started off in almost pretty much the exact same way. But before you start throwing your pitchforks, torches, and empty beer cans at the computer screen, allow me to further elaborate. That whereas the Irate Gamer did not change much from his original concept, JonTron managed to expand his reviews and become more of a parody and a love letter to the game review genre on YouTube, rather than just being a carbon copy clone. The difference between JonTron and the Irate Gamer is that JonTron became self-aware satire that not only made unique observations, but made fun of gaming culture and particularly internet review culture, ironically enough going on to spawn many clones of his exact formula himself. But none of them could quite manage to emulate his exact quirkiness and self-awareness of the genre. Just look at the Normal Boots United subreddit for a collection of people tackling this exact genre of comedic game reviews. And before people point to my game reviews and accuse me of hypocrisy here, I am not claiming to be above these individuals. JonTron did inspire me to give the game review genre another shot, after I'd given it up for years. But my comedic style, my goofy comedic style, has been a staple of my videos since long before I tackled the genre, and I've been an animator and pixel artist before that. So if you think I'm just another ripoff, you can go down to the dick store and just buy yourself a whole bag of dicks. And then just eat that, just eat that whole bag of dicks. Don't worry, you earned it. So what is a ripoff? Well, in my opinion, it really depends on where you, individually, draw the line. Because the measure of what constitutes a rip-off is completely and utterly subjective. So tell me in the comment section below, where do you personally draw the line? As always, this has been Mega Mitch, and I will catch you later, dear viewers. Also in the comment section, can you let me know if you like these live action videos, or whether you think I should go back to the illustrated, idealized cartoon version of myself for these types of videos? I might switch it up every now and again, but honestly, I was getting tired of the editing that goes into the illustrated versions of these commentary videos. So I'd really like to do more videos like this, but if it's not your cup of tea, then I'll try to find some balance. Gotta keep my audience happy. Well, I mean, I don't have to. I don't really owe you anything, but